Liverpool Football Club will have a new manager next season because Jurgen Klopp has officially announced he will be departing the club at the end of the campaign. And this is a massive shock, man. Now, last year, around the time where they were kind of struggling, I was of the belief that Jurgen Klopp's era at Liverpool was coming to an end for numerous reasons. Let me be genuine, first of all. I thought that tactically he was starting to be kind of figured out. The team was kind of aging in a direction where I didn't think him personally had enough ruthlessness to cut out certain players that needed to be cut out, namely Henderson, Milner, Mane, for example. Well, no, Mane was gone last year, to be fair. Firmino, excuse me. Obviously, he proved me wrong in that regard. He got rid of Milner, he got rid of Henderson, he got rid of Firmino, built this new young team, brought in 4 or 5 new guys, and Liverpool look rejuvenated. They're top of the league. They look like they could win the league again. They look like they could win all 4 competitions this year. But a second reason why I thought Jurgen Klopp potentially may kind of be on the exit from Liverpool was because of the energy side of things. And I just looked at the energy in which this guy kind of puts out in his job, right? When it comes to like managing a football club, I don't think anyone lives and breathes the football club they manage just like Jurgen Klopp does. And after 7, 8, 9 years at the helm, where you are in all 4 competitions every single year, challenging for leagues, going deep into the Champions League, emotionally and physically, I just figured eventually it's going to start taxing on you mentally and again, physically as well. Now, going into the season, 6, 7, 8 games in, I kind of took a back seat. I was like, hold on, this guy looks like he has a new lease of life here, man. All of a sudden, Liverpool have a new style of play. They look back to their blistering best. They're playing vertical. Trent's playing in midfield. Klopp is back again, fist pumping on the touchline. So I was kind of like, all right, fair enough, I was wrong. But for him to come out today and kind of state that the main reason why after 8, 9 years at the club, he's deciding to take a step back is because of his energy levels. I can't lie, man. It's interesting. Is it the right time for him to do so? At the time when we got the announcement, I thought it was a weird timing. But now that I think about it, I actually think it's perfect timing. Because think about it, guys. If Liverpool were in this title race till the very end, and let's say they lose it on the final day or lose it with 2 games to spare, and then Jurgen Klopp announced that he's leaving Liverpool, bro, that's double homicide right there. That's like getting punched in the throat and then punched in the jaw right after. I think that would be like devastating for the club as a whole. Now, if they won it, obviously, and even say they win the league, then you're kind of left with that bittersweet feeling towards the end. Like, okay, you won the league, but you basically lost your most iconic manager of the modern era. Now, the more I think about it, is almost the perfect time to announce it, at least to the public. So I think he's already spoken to his staff, the club, his players. They were aware of this. But now to kind of let the fans know that this is it, the last dance, the last journey. Get behind the team, get behind me, and let's kind of wrap up what's been a fairy tale 7, 8, 9 years in the perfect way possible. Anfield are going to be backing Liverpool to the hills and beyond every single game. If they don't already, they're going to be, that game, that stadium is going to be a cauldron every single time a team enters into it. Every single game that they play. And their players as well too, right? Now, there are a lot of new players, Szoboszlai, McAllister, but guys like Van Dijk, guys like Salah, guys like Trent. Maybe if Salah might be looking towards Saudi. Maybe he might be looking towards Real Madrid. Or I don't know. He might be looking for his future past Liverpool. This almost allows him to refocus again and do it for Klopp if you want to say so. So the more I think about it, it's almost the perfect timing. This is the perfect time to announce that this is now or never, man. Win the league a second time. And if not, we live with no regrets. But let's kind of talk about Klopp's legacy at Liverpool, right? When we talk about managing big clubs, right? I think the reason a lot of people fail to make that transition from like a good club, like a mid club, or even a great club to like an elite level football club isn't all the time because tactically they're not up to the level or management-wise they're not up to the level, but maybe the reason why Moyes failed at United or why Unai Emery failed at Arsenal or why many managers have failed at Liverpool, Lopetegui failed at Real Madrid. I feel like to manage clubs of this status, of this like stature, you need to have a lot of character about you. And in Jurgen Klopp, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a manager in the modern game in the last 10 years who has more personality, who has more character, and who lives and breathes his job more than Jurgen Klopp does the Liverpool job. This guy is more than just a coach. I think he represents the football club better than anybody I could possibly even think of. Like when we think of replacements for Jurgen Klopp, who represents Liverpool better than him? And this isn't even like hindsight speaking, right? This isn't like, oh, the benefit of hindsight. Even when he kind of took over the club, the way he spoke in his interviews, the way from the jump he almost connected with the fan base when he turned doubters into believers. It's effectively a match made in heaven. Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool Football Club. So to now look at who's going to replace him, it's almost an impossible job. Replacing what Jurgen Klopp has meant to this football club for the last 8-9 years. Forget about the silverware, forget about the success, forget about the wins, the style of play. Just replacing the figure that Jurgen Klopp is for that football club, bro, it's the closest thing I can think of to replacing Sir Alex. Obviously not to that status, because Sir Alex is he was there three times as many years as Klopp was. But in terms of replacing a figure that represents a football club, this is the closest I can think of personally to replacing Sir Alex. And we've seen 10 years on from that moment, they are still unable to replace him. So in that regard, that's what Jurgen Klopp means to Liverpool. But then again, you also look at the silverware and where Liverpool were before him and where they are now when he leaves at the end of the season. This was a club, guys, that was, let's face it, the laughingstock of England when it comes to top clubs. I remember, I didn't even grow up in the UK. I can only imagine in the UK it was even worse for Liverpool fans. But I remember growing up in the US, and like the very few like Liverpool fans we knew or whatever, like it was me and my best friend who was a United fan. The very few Liverpool fans we even knew, basically it was like, wow, you guys haven't won the league for 20 years. You haven't won the league for 30 years. You guys are never going to win the league again. Like that was like really the way we thought about it. Liverpool Football Club are just never, they're just destined to never win it again. Kind of like how we speak about Arsenal now. For Liverpool, it was a case of like, yo, these guys, they might just be cursed for life. But he, like I said, turned doubters into believers. And for that, man, I mean, I think that City, let alone the football club, is indebted to him for life. I think they should be building him a statue, to be honest with you. I think they should, if not that, at least be naming a stand after him. Because really, when you look at the hierarchy of all-time great Liverpool managers, Shankly, Paisley, I don't know in terms of Liverpool fans, Paisley top, excuse me. So I was right. Well, so who do Liverpool fans chat, let me know if we have any Liverpool fans in here. We got Shankly top, Bob Paisley right underneath, and then Jurgen Klopp, unless I'm missing somebody, I think has firmly established himself as the third, if you were to make like a Mount Rushmore of Liverpool managers, he's third on that list. And rightfully so. We will all kind of just like laugh, I'm sure, when he leaves about, well, if he does only win one Premier League, he only won one in 9 years. He only won one Champions League in 9 years, one FA Cup in 9 years, one Carabao Cup in 9 years. But when you look at the size and the quality of the Liverpool teams that Jurgen Klopp built, bro, I think realistically only Pep Guardiola and Real Madrid are the reason why we're not talking about this Liverpool team as the best team of their era. Because when you talk about the way they played and the quality of top-end players that they had and the manager that they had as well, bro, this could have been a potential dynasty. And I think we should still consider it a great era of football. But in terms of like the silverware backing it up, because like we kind of talked about with Hazard, like results, goals, and silverware is what lives forever. Memories fade. Silverware is eternal. That's why I always say silverware is the currency of football. But really, if it wasn't for Pep's ruthless winning machine, which let's also be honest, is backed by billions, and Real Madrid, which in Europe are just untouchable, we could have been talking about a Liverpool team that won 3 or 4 Premier Leagues. Hell, they went to 3 Champions League finals and only lost 2 to great Real Madrid teams. We could have been talking about a team at that level. You look at the year that they won the league, 103 points out of 105 before that Watford loss. They were unbeatable. The only team to even take points out of them away from that Watford loss was all these United at home. I still don't know how we got points from that game. The season before, winning the Champions League final and losing the league basically because of a hair of John Stones' foot. Jurgen Klopp built that team. And that's without even getting into the way they played, man. What made the Pep and Klopp rivalry, if you want to call it a rivalry, because I know, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll always be a Jose versus Pep kind of guy or a Sir Alex and Wenger kind of guy because of like the ferocity of those rivalries, especially kind of like the disdain that both had. This is really a different one. It's purely a footballing rivalry, right? But what makes it such an interesting rivalry compared to the others, which I almost feel are more built off like A, success, and B, also, emotions? This is really a footballing rivalry in terms of 2 clubs and 2 managers that play the complete antithesis of the other. In Pep, you have the slower, methodical, possession-based team that wants to kill you death by a trillion passes. Whereas Liverpool, you really had, especially at the start of Jurgen Klopp's tenure there, kamikaze football. What did he call it? Gegenpressing, rock and roll football, in your face, counter-attacking, counter-pressing, vertical passing. Everything is done in 3-4 passes, winning the ball as high up the pitch. And you had these super contrasting styles of play that every single time they played, it was almost showtime, bro. Whether it was a Liverpool win at Anfield when they beat them 4-0 or 3-0 in the Champions League, or whether it was City beating them 5-0 and it was just Sané, Sterling, David Silva, De Bruyne, Fernandinho. The game that really pips all of them is the one that ultimately decided the league title in 18-19 when Aguero scores the winning goal. But you ask a lot of people, especially in the last 10 years, that's probably the highest quality individual Premier League game that the league has seen in the last 10 years. And at the heart of it, forget about Salah, forget about De Bruyne, forget about Aguero. We talk about how much the game is dominated by two managers. Those two managers are Pep and Klopp. And they've completely redefined, I wouldn't want to make it too much about Pep, but they've completely redefined the way that we even view points tallies in this league. Never before were we seeing teams consistently go for 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. City, they ended up hitting 100. They've completely almost like restructured the way we view Premier League seasons. Now we talk about, a team back then only hit 89 points. 89 points back then was considered a lot. Now we're comparing it to two teams that have hit standards in this league that even today, the current versions of those teams struggle to consistently hit. And at the heart of that, again, is Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. And I think the biggest indictment on Jurgen Klopp that you can give him is when you ask Pep, who do you consider your biggest rival in football? Now, he may be saying this because he coaches against Jurgen Klopp. Maybe he likes Klopp a little more. That's up for you to decide. But the answer he gave, his biggest rival in the sport has been Jurgen Klopp. And in fact, I think Jurgen Klopp is maybe not the only one, because I think Aldi might still have that record against him. But Jurgen Klopp is one of the few managers that actually has a winning record against Pep Guardiola. Is he the only one? He's the only manager. He sits by himself. I forgot. Pep gave Aldi a few hidings his last season here. But yeah, man, I think that's really that's really all I can really say about the guy. Look, as a United fan, I'm delighted that he's leaving the league because he's turned Liverpool into what I remember the United team I grew up supporting was. He's turned Liverpool into that team. And my team has kind of turned into the Liverpool before Jurgen Klopp kind of stepped into the league. So, look, I would have loved for Jurgen Klopp to replace Sir Alex. I even say to this day, I think he was the ultimate replacement. If you were to replace Sir Alex in terms of a guy who can do more than just coach the team, but oversee everything that the football club requires, that's a Jurgen Klopp type of manager. And I will be happy to see the back of him because, look, man, his record against United since he came in, I think he lost once at Anfield, and that was his first season here against Van Gaal. Every single time he's either battered us or we've been lucky to get away with a point. So I'll be happy to see the back of him. And I think every single rival fan really should be in terms of sporting things. But in terms of what the league is losing as a personality, what did Pep say? We cannot replace him. In terms of a personality in this league, bro, love him or hate him, because I know there's interviews, especially for me, that sometimes rub me the wrong way. Sometimes gives a sarcastic response. Sometimes he'll dig out a journalist. But in terms of, if you're a Liverpool fan, you'll be hard-pressed to find a manager, in my opinion, that rides out for you guys as hard as this guy does, man. Like, he truly loves and lives and breathes this football club, man. And I'm not sure that's as regular occurrence as it used to be when you had a Sir Alex there for 27 years, a Wenger there for almost 20 years himself. I don't think that's a regular occurrence. So I'm sure Liverpool fans taken Klopp for granted. I'm sure you guys have lived and breathed and enjoyed every single moment that he's had with your club. But let me tell you this now, man. It's going to be hard to replace him. Because for me, Klopp is a one-of-one manager. When you talk about the top 5, top 3 of the last 10 years, he sits up there, bro. Him, Pep, and you can decide the third. I feel like that's the best kind of like soliloquy I can give him as a United fan. Enjoy whatever kind of journey he goes on next. I'm hoping that none of this decision has to do with his health. I hope he's in good health. Hope he's not feeling ill. And yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see his next steps. And it'll be interesting as well to see Liverpool's next steps.